You are down with.
Yo, Dave.
What up?
Drop the beat.
We like it old school. You know how we do this.
What you listening to?
The brothers from the 818.
91331.
Pacoima, California.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, Caleb?
The real, the raw, the relevant.
No script.
We invite you into our conversation. What's going on, people?
Let me just say this.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
You are down with.
The brothers from the 818. Hey, yo, what's going on, people? You are back with the brothers from the 818. My name is Dave, as you know, kicking it with my man, Caleb. Caleb, what's going on with you?
Hey, Dave, it's good, man. I'm just glad to be here on another episode from the brothers from the 818. I can't wait to check in and get into the business.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Before we get too down and dirty, man, we just finished Black History Month. And, you know, towards the end, I was trying to be blackety black. Like every time I got a chance to sit down and watch something, I was watching like a black show. I watched House Party and, Coming to America like 3 times because I'm just trying to get all the nuances out before the new one comes out. Came across I'ma Get You Sucker, and I realized that scene where he's walking and he has his band with him, and and old boy's like, who are they? And he's like, that's my theme music. Everybody got to have theme music. Man, so for the past 3 weeks, we got new theme music, and I forgot to point it out. So the week we did the tour through Pacoima, getting our eat on, the whole track was playing in the background. I introduced it as the intro for the week after that and last week, and still ain't groove to it. Normally I'm in here bobbing my head or something. Right. But yeah, man, we got some new intro music. I know some cats over at Triangle Sound Studios. Big shout out to them. Brother Jerron, he hooked us up because he gave us, he listened to what we were doing. He kind of listened to some feedback of what we thought and gave us some music that's representative of the 818. So for all of y'all out there, you'll hear it again in this episode. It's the intro track. Let us know what you think. It just, I think it's the evolution of you and I as brothers, because we went through, the Def Jam days, the early, where it was just 808s and kick drums. We went through the golden age of music with Dre and all of that. We've gone through some BS in the 90s and the 2000s.
You ain't gonna claim it.
And we done brought it back to, kind of a nice, R&B groove over a hip hop beat, which is very indicative for a brother of 50 years old, 49, about to be 50. So letting y'all know out there, we got some new music. Check it out. Tell us what you think. Shout out to Triangle Sound Studios. So that's what I want to say, man. Check in for me. What's going on with you? How was your week?
Man, I'm looking around saying, what can I use as a boombox, man, but I don't have anything. I don't have anything big enough, man. But yeah, man, I love the music. I hope that our fans also love the music, and we get some feedback. Regarding my check-in, I traveled. I went to the tri-state. I went to Jersey to see my wife's family. It's always good to travel and see family members, and to be able to come back home, because it was cold in the East Coast, man. I don't know if you've been following the news. It was cold, but coming back home is always refreshing, because you get to sleep in your own bed, you get to stretch out, you get to walk around with no socks on and just do your normal thing around the house. So I really enjoyed that. What I don't enjoy is taking vacation from work and then having to come back and have to catch up on everything that I missed. I probably had more, I certainly had more than 200 emails that I needed to kind of get through today and yesterday. So, oh, something else I wanted to mention. I should have mentioned it when you was talking about our theme music. Um, One of my golf buddies, Charles Graves, he noticed the theme music a few months ago. He was like, "Man, you brothers are really doing the thing, man. You guys have you guys have a theme music, right?" And he hasn't mentioned this, but I'm sure he will now since he is a loyal listener. So that's my check-in, man. What's going on with you, Dave?
You know, the big event that happened is your godson no longer lives with me, man. He got mad at me and bounced. No, it wasn't like that.
Hmm.
He, he told me a while ago, and we're talking probably October, November. He's like, Dad, I need to come home, you know, at the end of the year. And I'm gonna stay there for a while until we get our ducks in a row, and then we're gonna, you know, move down to San Diego. And I was like, bet, you know, and I'm thinking, he's thinking 3 months. I'm figuring 6. It's probably going to be 9, you know, and so forth and so on. He got here, and we even talked about this a little bit. You know, he got a bank account, another bank account. He bought a car, you know, handled his insurance. A couple weeks after that, his girl came through. They went down to San Diego. They found a place. They're gone, right? I mean, and when I say they're gone, she never moved in here. She came by a couple of times, but they together now are in their place. I drove behind them with a lot of their stuff in tow to San Diego on Monday and got them in their new crib, man. So it was one of them bittersweet moments where I was just like, wow, you know, not only am I just proud that he's handling this business, but he was like, hey, I just need to come here for a minute, get my ducks in a row, and I'm out. And he did that. And so I was real pleased. But yeah, he's off on his own now. So first apartment that he's paying for out of his own dime. And, you know, him and his girl are doing their thing. So real proud of him, man. We got to head down to San Diego when he says it's all right and go christen him with something. Bring a bottle of something or help him move something or whatever.
Yeah, let's do that housewarming, man. I would like to also congratulate him for making that happen because it's a big step, but also congratulate you because you know you raise a young man who is on his cues, man. He's doing it, and you know, a lot of children would have just kind of slowly transitioned or maybe even stayed, and he wasn't about that. He was about being honorable and making sure that he was um, 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 transitioning into manhood or furthering himself into his in manhood in a way that is true to the man that you raised. And so I'm happy for that.
I appreciate that, brother. I'm gonna take the glory and the credit for the manhood piece. But you mentioned raising. Whenever I talk about raising Christopher, I got to give all honor to his mama.
Mhm.
You know, we realized early on that our marriage wasn't working, but we could be amazing parents. And even though we did it in different households, Christopher's mama was a powerhouse, and you know, she was large and in charge to make sure that that boy had what he needed and so forth and so on. I did my part, she did hers, but I never want to take any credit without giving her just due. And as well, Renee, right? So
Right.
you know, he really had two mamas and a daddy. And so with Renee, you know, she had her own relationship with him, and she was very integral in that as well. And of course, she passed right when he was graduating high school. So she never actually got to see him graduate. It was just a couple weeks before. But the bottom line is he had three amazing parents that put their foot in him to make sure that he turned into the man that he is. And when I see him today, I'm just proud knowing that it's not only me, but it's them that, you know, all contributed to what he's doing. And I just hope and pray that, and he's doing it, that he's learning from my mistakes
Right.
and building on top of them instead of destined to repeat the same cycle. And so far, he's doing a great job at that.
And he can learn from some of my mistakes too. And I think it's very humbling for you to hand off all the credit. I'm not going to let you get away with that. You had your role, and that young man, is doing it, and you modeled that for him. So, congratulations to everybody that played a role in bringing him to where he's at today.
Absolutely, absolutely appreciate that. Um, Lots of stuff to go over today, man. I could really do this all in the check-in because it's just about, stuff that's been going on and with what's happening in the world today and blah, blah, blah. Couple things I want to touch on, and I'll preface a couple of them so people don't think I'm going through trauma or turmoil. When things hit me, they hit me, and I just kind of like to speak on them. So you ready to jump into this thing?
Hey man, you okay, man? Do I need to get some of my cognac? I know you love some cognac. You all right?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. I haven't even picked up my Douce yet. I meant to go after work today and got caught up doing some other stuff. Who am I kidding? I laid down and took a nap, but that was what was necessary. But first thing first, man. So, I'm not a social media junkie by any means. I probably spent more time on social media since the quarantine started than ever in life, but that's because we're doing this show and I'm trying to do, advertising and making sure we're hitting people and letting them know what's going on and so forth. But this Frederick Douglass meme popped up, and it was just kind of interesting, and someone grabbed it and then modified it and added some stuff to it. So have you seen it at all? Do you know what I'm referencing?
No, man, when you talk about memes, I know what memes are, man. But I always joke and say that you are a nerd or a geek. But I'm familiar with memes. Some of the most famous memes that I've ever seen is the Michael Jordan memes with him crying and stuff. But I'm assuming that this Frederick Douglass meme is different. But what I don't know, because I haven't seen it, I don't know if it's respectful or disrespectful. So talk about it.
I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna show you it, and I'm gonna show everybody.
See, you are a geek. You see?
You say what?
I said, you see, you are a geek.
You know that. I'm gonna own that for the moment because you're too far away to pop that hat off your head. But it's all good. For the record, though, I got mad love for Frederick Douglass, and I would not be showing something disrespectful on this show. Matter of fact, if I did, I would just clown the fool who tried to disrespect him. But let me pop this up and show it to you, and we can talk about it afterwards. What you think about that, man?
Right. Wow. You brought life to those legends, man. It kind of got me. It kind of choked me up a little bit. I think it's powerful. I want to know who did it and how much was behind that, whether or not it was a lot of work and what inspired them to take on that project. So what do you know about it?
So my best understanding, I haven't done a lot of research. It was started by a single individual who did the one of Frederick Douglass. Somebody else saw that where they did it from and said, oh, let me go ahead and expand on it. There's a website you can go to and upload a photo and you can bring life to it. And if anybody sees it, they can take a look at it and so forth. I'm not here to advertise where that stuff is. But the beauty of it is, well, let me just say this. The person who did this one pointed out that there was Frederick Douglass, there was Marcus Garvey, there was W.B. Du Bois, there was Ida B. Wells and Harriet Tubman. All right, so there was no Marcus Garvey in there. It was actually a picture of young Frederick. There was an old Frederick. Then there was W.B. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells, and Harriet Tubman, of course. But I'm glad you got to see it for the first time because I could see it in your face. I could hear it in your voice. It's powerful, man. And it was purposely released on the last day of Black History Month. And when I first saw it, I was just in awe because I've seen all those pictures before. And what's interesting, the one of Ida B. Wells is a picture and it looks like it's been folded. There's like a crease going down the side of her face there. And that crease is there, right? And it's just incorporated in, and they're smiling a little bit. And to see Harriet Tubman look around, when you see a picture of Harriet Tubman, you see the pain in her face, you see the turmoil that she went through, and we've learned to celebrate the sacrifice because that she's just been a statement of modern culture, of pop culture as of late. And so we've learned to see all that, but now we see the movement through Harriet Tubman instead of through the actors that played her or a still picture and so forth. So I just thought it was a fitting way to end Black History Month. And I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share that with all of you, just in case you hadn't seen it. And if you look at the picture, you can see some information where you can go and check it out yourself. And I encourage you to do so. And maybe you have a still picture that you want to upload and bring some life to, right? I mean, I almost thought about uploading a picture of my mama, but I was like, that's not something I'm ready for yet, right? So I don't need that. I have many memories of her movement in my own mind, and I don't want to take a still picture and animate it just so I can have that movement. I think it would affect me in a way I'm not ready to be affected. So
Yeah,
to share that with you.
I think Harriet Tubman actually kind of choked me up because I was thinking about my mama while I was watching it, right? And I thought about the same thing as I just listened to you explain how it came about. I was thinking about the same thing, whether or not I'm ready to have any footage of my mama. Today's children, everything is on your cell phone. You have pictures, you have video, you have sound. I wish I had more of that of my mother. And sometimes I'm driving down the street and I'll see someone that look like my mother, and I'll pause and I'll reflect, right? And I just wish I had more of that. Like you, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to take any of those stills of my mother and use this application to bring her back to life. But it is powerful for sure, and it has affected me in a way that I wasn't expecting. But man, thank you for sharing, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to kick it off like that. I wanted to remind you, and I don't think it's a reminder for you as much, and maybe it's not a reminder for my audience either, but I saw another one today, and I should have grabbed a picture of it, but it showed two little boys. It was a cartoon. Showed two little boys, and it was a white little boy and a black little boy, and they were walking home. The black little boy was carrying the white little boy was carrying a few books. The black little boy was pulling a wagon and had a big stack of books that they said Black History on them. And he says, wait, wasn't that over yesterday? He said, that's your celebration. We do this all year long, all year round.
Hey,
right?
man.
So, I paused. I was like, man, well, Black History Month's over. Should I even show this? It was like, for them, we all about Black history on the Brothers from the 818. And in the life of David, in the life of Caleb, and the things that we do, Black history is just what we do, man. So I'm unashamedly pointing out these things as a celebration and a remembrance. And I'm glad it touched you the way it did, man. Job for myself, job well done. That's exactly the impact I hope you would have, because that's what it meant to me when I saw it.
The image that you shared about the boy pulling the wagon full of books remind me of our guest Augustus C. Stone.
Augustus C. Stone,
right? and how he spoke to the need for us to people in the community, black people in the community, African Americans in the community, to continue to celebrate throughout the year, and not just limited to 1 month. And so immediately once you mentioned that wagon, I was thinking of Mr. Stone joining us and blessing us with his time. So yeah, man, thank you for that.
Absolutely. Glad I got to share that with you. So more stuff with that, man. Like I said, when I started earlier, I was hitting all the movies, and just kind of had a black film festival throughout the month. And then we hit the Golden Globes, right? So let me just say this. And if you want to chime in, feel free. If you just want to give me my moment, my soapbox, let me do it. I think award shows in general are a joke, right? From the Oscars to the Golden Globes to the Emmys to the Tonys to the music award shows. I think it's an opportunity for us to look at whoever the guest star is, whoever the host is, whatever musicians are going to be playing, and we can see them perform. But I think, you know, especially sticking with the Golden Globes and the Oscars, we have so much talent in the Black community of actors and people in the industry that goes unrecognized because we, you know, and I'm not saying every piece of work we do is phenomenal, but we do phenomenal stuff on a year-round basis. And a lot of times that goes unnoticed. It goes unrewarded from the industry, right? Because I don't believe the industry is about who the best actor or what the best movie was, but who should win this time versus who should win next time. Well, this time the Golden Globes showed up and showed out when it comes to Black folks. And so I want to just highlight some of those. Andra Day, I'm not really sure what you're pronouncing it. She did a movie. She starred as Billie Holiday in the United States versus Billie Holiday, and transformed that role. It was truly amazing, and she won for that. Chadwick Boseman, he was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, he and Viola Davis, and they both were up for awards, but Chadwick Boseman got it posthumously, and he did a very good job in that. Daniel Kaluuya, you might remember him from Black Panther. He was in Get Out, the brother with the big eyes that was crying. He was in Judas and the Black Messiah. He got an award for that. Jamie Foxx, Pixar's first Black cartoon, so he played the main character. He got an award for that. John Boyega, you might remember him from Star Wars fame, only brother in Star Wars other than Samuel. He got it for best performance in the TV series, I think, for Small Axe. But lots of Black folks representing, man, in the Golden Globes. And I was like, I know, to me, it felt like, yes, each person who won deserved to win, but it felt like this was our year to be recognized, and they did that. So I'm discounting the Golden Globes, but I am celebrating the people who received it, because I think that's just a nice list of people. And if you haven't seen any of those movies, they're high on my recommendation list.
Let me speak to that, man. I don't know if you bias, man. I don't know if you bias because it's Black History Month and because you're a Black man and because
All the above.
they showed up, as you said, the Golden Globes showed up and showed out. And you know, as I'm listening to you, because I've seen some of the movies, and I think that you're right in your assessment about Black actors in Hollywood. But it feels like they did it because of what 2020 looked like. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to do it, because they should have been doing it the whole time. So I think that's what my point is. And maybe I'm just taking issue with the Golden Globes because you said that they were a joke. And if they're doing it because they had to, because of what it will look like, because of what 2020, how 2020 turned out with all of the racial injustice and the racial tension in our country, and the police brutality and the injustice and reform movement. I feel like shame on them, but I also believe that, you know, the Golden Globes and all of the award, all of the non-Black awards, I'm not talking about BET and the Triple XL Hip Hop Magazine Awards, and and then those, right, that are committed to only their Black audience. But you know, they should, and hopefully this is a trend for the future, for them to recognize some of these great talents in a way that is equitable, because so much that we talked about in 2020 was the inequity in our country, and not just with these celebrities. And so I feel like it's reparations for the years past, and with them skipping out on or missing opportunities to celebrate some of our Black actors. The last thing I'll say is I was surprised with Daniel Kaluuya, right, with who played Judas in the Black Messiah, because he's from England. I don't know if you knew that, right? And if you've heard him talk and give an interview, his accent comes through. When I was aware of it, and when I saw him in character, it just blew my mind, man. He had his cadence and his tone and everything down to a science, and that is what the Golden Globes and all of the movie awards should be celebrating: the transformation of a person into that character. So yeah, man. What do you think about the reparations conversation?
Yo, man, we're saying the same exact thing. Shame on the Golden Globes and the Oscars and the Tonys and so forth and so on. Like I said, I think, and again, I've never been invited to the meeting. I don't have a bug in the room, but I believe that, at some point the powers that be get together and they're like, okay, we need to make sure we do the right thing because we don't want to get boycotted or whatever. And if you go back and look at the history of the movies that have won and the people who have won, they follow trends, man. And anybody wants to challenge me on it, go ahead. I'm not speaking I pulled all the numbers right before this show and looked at it, but you look at the trends and you can see where they're obviously identifying certain themes or certain people groups or certain things like that to create their own system of equity. We did this last year. Next year, we have to do this. Let's show up for this year, instead of letting the talent speak for itself. So this is why I said it that way, and this is how I repeat it again. The Golden Globes are a joke. The Oscars are a joke. Shame on them for that it even becomes one of those situations. And yes, I think looking at all of the inequitable situations that occurred in 2020, yeah, all right, they said, let's go ahead and celebrate some Black folks. But for the people who won it, and this is why the Golden Globes and the Tonys and the Oscars and so forth are important. It's a recognition of work as something you can put on your CV or your resume that's quantifiable to get your numbers up, right? Andra Day, when she does her next movie, it's going to pay her a whole lot more because she just got a Golden Globe, right? It's also a tease of the Oscars. So let her follow up with an Oscar, which she very well should win. Right, it's going to get her numbers up. Jamie Foxx, numbers up. Daniel Kaluuya, numbers up. So now they, as individuals, will be able to do better in their career and get better recognition because of the award. The process is BS. The award is real, and that award will allow them to do bigger and better things. So big ups for them. Big ups for some of the other names that I didn't mention. Regina King, man, yeah. One Night in Miami. Yeah. Phenomenal. She was up for Best Picture, I think Best Director for a Picture. She didn't win. She's up against some heavy competition, but she's just buzzing all over. We have so much talent out there that's coming from different directions that, as you said, maybe this is the start of a trend. Maybe we'll see in 2021 that the talent and the work begins to speak for itself. And I am in no way of saying that, Black people should be the winners all the time. No, I've seen some crappy Black movies. I've seen some crappy Black directors, just like I see crappy white ones and everybody else, right? And if a movie's that good, an actor is that good, a director is that good, a song in a movie is that good, it should get the recognition. That's all I'm saying. It shouldn't be the trend based upon who should get it. So that's my point.
I'm glad that you mentioned Regina King, man, because I watch some of the makings of A Night in Miami, and she did a phenomenal job with that. You know, I was trying to think of earlier. I was trying to think of award shows that are geared to the Black community, and I was thinking like I wasn't even sure if the Soul Train Music Awards are still on, right? I know Essence has their award season. I know BET still does their thing, and um, um, you know, the reason why artists had to create these individualized award shows is because they were getting skipped over and they weren't being recognized um, by the Tonys, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, and the MTVs, right? And so now MTV has embraced Black culture in a way that I'm not even sure if it's necessary to still have some of the other award shows, right? But there was a reason for the Black community standing up those award shows just so that they could be recognized. And so I'm glad that that there is a monetary gain from being nominated and for winning, because that will allow other artists or these artists to pull up other people and do bigger things and address some of the issues in our community, because only a few people want to look at those issues head on. And so it requires a Regina King to say, you know what, this is a wonderful story. And I want to make sure I want to bring it to life the same way that the automations brought those other legends to life, right? And so I'm glad that we're talking about it, because it's important. It's important for people that may not recognize the inequity of those award shows and understand why those other award shows are there. It's important for them to now know that those shows were created out of necessity. I'll stop there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I should just let you stop there and drop it and move on. But just names popping up in my head, man, because again, I mentioned Regina King prior to A Night in Miami. I don't know if she did any directing. This might be her directing debut. I'm not sure, but the fact that she's stepping up and doing that, phenomenal. And she's following in the footsteps of like an Ava DuVernay, right? Mm-hmm. Who was doing amazing things with Black movies and bringing history and stories to life, bringing our culture and the incidents that have occurred with us to life. I'm glad some of these actors are moving from in front of the camera and now going behind the camera to continue that process and just make this happen, because they already have their foot in the door. And I'm just pleased, I'm proud, and it just gives me that sense of joy when I can see that and celebrate the quality of the entertainment as well, right? We're not talking about them getting behind the camera and producing B-level flicks. We're talking A-list, A-level media that is engaging, that is thought-provoking, that's entertaining, and that's telling stories that were previously untold. So let's celebrate 2020 like that, right? And with all those lemons we got, let's make a hell of a lemonade for 2021. And if what I believe is true, the Oscars and the Tonys and so forth are that joke, then let's flood them with so much quality media that they can't help but recognize us and see what happens then.
They're telling stories. They're doing the same thing that other white actors, Jewish actors, Italian actors have done, but without the recognition. And finally, they're able to tell some of these stories and not have to have them watered down the way that Black directors needed to do it in the past. Spike Lee was one of the first Black directors that I grew up watching that was talking about issues in the community. And I feel like, this new wave of actors and this new energy in Hollywood might bring more of those stories to us, and not just the Black community. I'm talking about all of Americans and internationally too, because as Augustus C. Stone and the brothers from the 818 talked about last week, is Black history is being rewritten or being removed from the history books, right? And so someone needs to tell the story, and and it should, here's my bias. I feel like black people should have a hand in telling those stories.
Yeah, put a stamp on it. We can put that one right there. So
all right, let's go.
Glad we got to mention that. One last thing, and I don't know. This is where you were like, Dave, you okay? So let me just throw this one out there. Me and my girl are great. We ain't got no problems. Has nothing to do with anything internal to my household. This is based on, again, I've been watching a lot of movies, and she and I have been having a lot of conversations that have stemmed this next statement. But I got a public service announcement, man, for people in relationships, right? And here it is. Stop blaming other people for the turmoil you deal with in bad relationships.
You got to explain that.
Let me say that again. Stop blaming other people for the turmoil you deal with in bad relationships. Now, before I go any farther, if you're in an abusive relationship, get out. Right? If you're with someone who's, putting their hands on you and this, that, and the other, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But again, get out, right? Do not let yourself become subject to someone else's punishment. But a lot of times you see relationships end and women are looking at men and saying, I knew it all along and I chose to put up with it. Men are looking at women saying, I know that she was this, that, and the other. And they're so busy pointing the finger at someone else. And as brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, when you point a finger at someone else, you got three fingers pointing back at you, right? Where's your accountability? When are you going to stop and look in the mirror and say, maybe I had something to do with this? So I ain't gonna mention the movie because the movie doesn't matter. But we're watching this flick and it was just about, men and women and the games that people play. And the women were like, I'm just tired of men playing games. And so I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, playing their own game. Right? And it became a conversation about, well, sometimes that's what you have to do to make him prove he's the one. That's a game, right? It's like, I don't think a woman should go and give themselves up. I don't think that they should, count the number of dates or any of that. You have to go with your heart, go with your gut. You have to feel it out and so forth and so on. But I'm not going, let me get off the women. I'll just talk about the bros. I know so many bros that are like, man, she did me dirty. She took my money. She cheated on me. She did X, Y, and Z. And I'd be like, you didn't see any of that coming? Right? And they're like, yeah, well, when I think back on it, I was doing this, but, I was trying to do right, or I was or she was playing games, so I started playing games, and be like, and where did you think this was going to end up? Right? And I'm like, it's a joke. I mean, at some point, you just have to be like, you know what? I'm going to be the best man I can be, right? Or I'm going to be who I am. If you're a player, be a player. And if she knows you're a player, then why does she think that you're not going to be the player with her, right? If you pulled her out the club and she was bouncing from spot to spot to spot, and then she met you and you think that all of a sudden you're going to wife her up, is it possible? Sure. But if she doesn't, are you like, ooh, I'm so shocked. I thought I was going to be enough for her. I mean, come on now. You got to be able to take, and again, this whole thing isn't about the other person. It's about accountability for who you are. My girl told me, she said, David, what you have to understand, and she threw that old phrase out to me, behind every great man is a great woman. And I said, yes, behind a great man, if there's a great woman, is that great woman has a large part to do with his success, no doubt, and vice versa. I got no problem with that, right? But what if he's single? right? What if ain't no great woman in his life? Or what if the woman
Yeah.
in his life ain't that great, right? It's like, it ain't that behind every great man is a great woman. People can be great in and of themselves, but if you have the right person with you, yes, they can add to your greatness. Someone who got your back, who's supportive of you, you're supportive of them, you build and lift each other up accordingly. Absolutely. Behind a great man is a great woman. Anybody else? I don't know if I'm just going that everybody's great because you get to ride that ride along blessing with somebody else's greatness. Not having that. Last thing, and then I want to hear your thought. Closure. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, well, they just want closure. You want closure? Find a mirror, right? And I'm going to be real with you, right? This is how I get closure. I look in the mirror, and whatever person I was with, I make them perfect, right? And what I mean by that is now they didn't do anything wrong, right? It was all about, anything that I could say, well, I only did this because you did that. Nope, I can't say that because you were perfect. I only reacted that way because you did this. Nope, can't say that because you're perfect. And so now I look at every action I do as an individual instance and I take account for it, right? And deal with that. And once I deal with that, I got closure. I don't have to call that person up. I don't have to think about that person. I don't have to call them and apologize or call them and say, you did me wrong, or stalk that person on Facebook or Instagram or any of that and see what they're doing behind my back or what they're doing and how well they're moving on. I could care less. When we done, we done. And anybody who knows me knows that that's true. When it's over, it's over. Right? But the whole closure piece, I have to laugh and be like, why do you need closure from someone else? Right? This is your deal. When are you going to look at your own actions, face your own self in the mirror and say, what's going on? Again, this ain't got nothing to do with me and my household, me and my girl, fine. But I've been watching these movies, man. And the more I dug into them, I was like, this is messy, man. This is the problem with Black relationships and relationships in general, because we're looking at this Hollywood image of drama and what's supposed to be acceptable and what's supposed to be okay in a relationship. That's it. I'm done. Go.
I don't know where to start, man. I don't know where to start. That was a lot.
Quick.
But there's a good thing is I was taking notes. There's a good thing is I was taking notes. I wish I had me a drink in front of me though, because you were hot for a minute there. You were hot about this. This is something I don't know what you didn't even say what shows you were watching. But let me get into my reaction to what you just shared. One of my favorite comedians, white comedian, Dane Cook, was talking about ending relationships. And he said, women will say, I can't end the relationship. He has 100 CDs at his house. How am I going to walk away from those 100 CDs? If you need to end the relationship, just be done with it. That's your closure right there. Stop picking up the phone. Stop answering the door. If someone is harassing you, call the police and get yourself a restraining order and find your closure that way. I'm a fan of the Black Love series. My wife and I, we watch Black Love series, and I think I'm most interested about these celebrities that are willing to reveal pieces of themselves in this series. And it's not always good, but they're talking about the work of maintaining and strengthening a relationship. And so I often say that, if you've been in a relationship for more than 2 hours, you know that there's work, right? And you ain't going to be able to, let me clean up my language. You won't be able to navigate those waters without some issues, right? And so I'd like Black Love. And so if there's, and we don't advertise, we don't really do advertising on our show. But if you are looking for a good series that are talking about relationships and romance and some of the challenges that you might find, that's a good series. And they talk about some of the issues that you brought up. I always say to when people ask me about me and my relationship with my wife, I come as I was advertised, right? I'm too old. I'm too old to be switching up and being anything different. And you were saying, talking about how people expectations change, how people are playing games. No, I come as I was advertised. And so if my wife says, "Hey, you are just as stubborn as you told me when we were dating." Yeah, right. You right. Hit it right on the head. Right. I told you about that. Accountability is essential in any relationship. And let me talk about Ilana and how far off she was with her statement regarding behind every great man is a great woman. Let me say this, Dave. Before you was in a relationship with your great woman, you was a great man. And I think that, hey, celebrate. Go ahead. I'll let you celebrate. People that are listen to us on Spotify, David is doing a dance. You can't see it,
Great,
but
I'm
he
done.
is
I'm done.
celebrating that compliment. Before your great woman came into your life, you was already a great man. And I feel like I was a great man. I've been a great man for many years. And so that statement does not account for those great men that have been in bad relationships, and maybe those bad relationships was their own doing, right? But it doesn't take away their greatness. And so I think it's a catchphrase that is often just kind of thrown out there. For me, it is true. My wife is great, right? And together we are a power couple.
Mhm.
And I look at our trajectory, and I see that together we're going to do greater things, right? But if our relationship dissolved tomorrow, and she's no longer behind me, I feel like I'm still great.
Right.
And so that's all I got to say about that.
You mentioned last week, was it the week of Valentine's Day? We were celebrating Black love. You were saying that, my wife was great all by herself before I ever came along.
Yeah.
And for any women out there that are like, I can't believe you said that, I'm going to say it again. I don't believe that behind every great man is a great woman. I do think if there is a great woman behind a great man, then together they are greater. And if
Right.
there's a great man behind a great woman, together they are greater. I see where my girl is and the things that she's doing and her drive and her dedication to her passion and her craft. And I'm like, if we stay together, man, our trajectory can take a whole new level, and we can do that Black love thing in amazing depths and travel the world and show people the power of what it truly looks like to be an amazing Black couple with no drama and just enjoying the thrills and frills of being free, right? And I love that and all that. But if we went our separate directions, her greatness is great all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't need me to validate it. My greatness is great.
Right.
All by
Right.
itself.
Right.
I don't
Right.
need hers to validate it. And so for
It's a
anybody
nice
out there
compliment.
hating on those words, again, find a mirror, look at yourself in it, and find that greatness that is in you. It will give you the closure you're looking for. It will
Right.
set the expectations that you need, and it'll slow down a lot of that game playing. Women, men think they have to play games to get what they want. What if everybody just stopped playing and started doing?
You got anything else, Dave? I want to know what you're listening to.
That's what, oh man, you beat me to it. I was going to hit you with it. I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. Doom, doom, doom. Man, I pulled out Ambitions of a Rider, man, and I caught it on Spotify, one track. I don't remember what it was, but I just loaded it up in the car, man. So I've been getting my Tupac on, man. And it's appropriate because this is March, and so Tupac died in September. But Biggie, the anniversary of Biggie's death, it's hard to mention Tupac without Biggie in the same conversation these days. But Biggie's death is March 9th, is coming up. Netflix just dropped a new biopic, a documentary about his life and so forth. And so I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm sure Tupac's going to, be a part of that. They were tramping them same streets. But again, 24, 25 years old, both of them, man. I looked up to Tupac and in a lot of ways still do, right? For what he was doing, what he was saying, the type of the change he wanted to make amongst the Black community and so forth and so on. And he's been gone for 25 years, man. It's a trip to me.
Right. Yeah.
It's just half is, he didn't make it to the levels that we're able to talk about now. He never got to see gray hair.
Right.
Right. Never got to see, I don't even know if he has any children, but, children, let alone grandchildren, to have that joy of one day being an Augustus C. Stone at 80 years old, sharing the stories. He never got that chance. And so as I'm listening to Tupac today and yesterday and so forth, I'm thinking about it along those lines. And I miss him. I miss his music. I miss what could have happened had he stuck around, not only for the industry, but for society. I think we would see, anyone listening to this, like he was just a musician then, he was, but he was coming out of that. He was transitioning into something different. And when he came out of that cocoon, at that point, he was just a caterpillar. He was a powerful caterpillar. But when he came out of that cocoon that he was spinning, the butterfly that he was going to become was going to make waves and was going to make changes. And so that's what I've been listening to, man. A little bit of Tupac. What about you? What you were listening to?
Wow, man. Before I tell you what I've been listening to, your analogy that you just gave about Tupac made me think about Malcolm, because Malcolm was coming out of the nation, and he was about to do great things before his life was taken away from him too early. So just wanted to reference that, because as I was listening to you, I heard that. What am I listening to? My children crying. I mean, I was traveling, so a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old don't always travel very well for long distances, and we were in a plane, but we did our best. Something that I did recognize while I was in Jersey was I was listening to one of their local stations. Often I got in the car and the local station was playing some Mary J. Blige. The local station was playing a lot of Michael Jackson. I heard more Michael Jackson in the past weekend than I have in all of last year, right? Wow. Because they are on that rotation, right? And so I really appreciated the radio play in Jersey, and I don't listen to the radio very much. I get in the car, I plug in my phone, and I'm listening to whatever is playing on my media device. But it was refreshing to listen to MJ, man, someone else that was taken too soon.
Yeah, no doubt. Another podcast, man. I got so much to talk to you about music and entertainers. We're gonna have to pull that for another show for another time. So appreciate that. So y'all know what we've been listening to, what you've been listening to from the 818. You notice we didn't have a guest this week. We gave our guests a week off. I think we've been doing well on the guest circuit for this year. But we gave a week off. We'll be back next week with more entertaining topics, more engaging topics. Tonight, we hit a couple notes, and, again, really just a celebration of what's happening in the community, in the Black community. We started with some of our historical figures. We looked at, what's happening in entertainment. We got stuck there a little bit. And then, of course, I got to go on my rant, and Caleb got to co-sign with me about, what we see in Black entertainment that reflects relationships and so forth in the Black community. I honor my girl. I know Caleb honors his wife. So nothing we said should be taken as any disrespect to them or any other women. But again, for men and women, when it comes to those types of things, find a mirror, check yourself. and you'll go real far. As far as the brothers from the 818, you can catch us everywhere. We are on YouTube and Facebook streaming. We're also on streaming media. As Caleb said, when he gets in his car, he plugs in his phone, and whatever was playing is what continues. Well, what could be playing in your car is the brothers from the 818. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, all of that. You can catch the brothers from the 818. Like we always said, we ain't said it a long time, but as long as y'all keep showing up, we're going to keep showing out just for you, bringing you that raw, bringing you that real, bringing you that relevant, as only the brothers from the 818 can. Caleb, you got anything else for him?
Just thank you for joining us. Good night.
Peace.
Peace.
You are down with
The brothers from the